Hello, my name is Cindy Yawkey, and I'm about to tell you about one of the most exciting anti-slavery events to happen in Michigan, the Kentucky Slave Raid of 1847. In the spring of 1847, two large groups of slaves escaped from their Kentucky plantation. The first group was 22. It included William Casey, his wife, his daughter. The second group, 11, included Perry Sanford. They made their way to Young's Prairie in Cass County, Michigan. The Kentucky slave owners heard rumors that their slaves were staying and working on Quaker farms. They hired a man by the name of Carpenter. Carpenter pretended to be an abolitionist. He went from Quaker farm to Quaker farm. I tell you what, those Quakers are real friendly. They invited me in, they fed me, they even left me stay in their homes. Once I found out what farms those slaves were staying at, I drew a map and I sent it back to Kentucky. In August of 1847, 13 slave catchers come into the area. They brought a tobacco wagon to haul back their slaves in. They stopped just 2 miles south of Josiah Osborne's farm. They left their tobacco wagon there. They broke into smaller groups. One group went to the Osborne's farm, where in a little house close to the Osborne's house, a family of 5 was staying: a father, a mother, a daughter, and 2 sons. When the slave catchers break in, the mother and daughter escape out the window. The father and 2 sons are handcuffed in bed. Josiah Osborne sends messengers out to his neighbors, and all of his neighbors come to his farm. The slave catchers have shackled the father and 2 sons together, and is about to start heading south when they're surrounded. And they go from the Osborne farm to the Odell Mill in Vandalia. Another group, led by Reverend Stevens, went to the East Farm, where there was a mother and her baby staying in one of the cabins. She could hear them going from cabin to cabin, and she knew soon that they would be coming to her cabin. She escapes out the window. She runs, she hides in the woods. She realizes she left her baby on the bed. Reverend Stevens breaks into the cabin. Ah, the woman, she got away. But then he spots the baby on the bed. I know how to get her back. He picks the baby up. He takes the baby outside. He makes the baby cry. The mother, hearing her baby cry, she comes out of hiding. She's captured, and they go to the Odell Mill in Vandalia. On Zachariah Sugart's farm, in a cabin, William Casey, his wife, and his daughter are staying. When the slave catchers break into the cabin, Mrs. Casey escapes out the window. William Casey picks up a 3-legged stool. He gives great battle. He strikes his young master a mighty powerful blow. His young master would die later on returning to Kentucky. They overpower William Casey and beat him dreadfully and capture him and his daughter. Mrs. Casey's running through the cornfield when her young master tries to capture her. But she's too much for him, and she licks him in the cornfield. And she makes her way to Zachariah Sugart's house and alerts the family and goes back into hiding. Henry Shepherd, a self-emancipated man, on his farm in a cabin is staying Merriman, who had been sick ever since he arrived. When the slave catchers break into the cabin, he tries to fight them off. They overpower him and capture him. On Stephen Bogue's farm in a cabin, a man named Joe Sanford, his wife, his daughter, a man named Rube Stevens, and Perry Sanford are staying. At 4 o'clock in the morning, they hear a knock at the door. Joe goes, "Who's there?" A voice replies, "A friend." They all recognize the voice. It's the voice of Jack Graves, Joe's slave master. Jack Graves starts pounding on the door and he's yelling, "Joe, Joe, let me in." Joe doesn't let him in. Joe starts yelling, "Murder, murder," hoping that Stephen Bogue would hear him and come to his rescue. Jack Graves takes his double-barrel shotgun. He sticks it through the window of the cabin. Joe picks up a hickory stick. He strikes Jack Graves with the hickory stick. Jack Graves drops his shotgun in the window. He leaves. None of them pick up the shotgun, and Jack Graves and others soon return. They break into the cabin. They capture Joe, his wife, and his daughter. Ruth Stevens, who's up in the loft, he jumps down and he runs out the door. Perry Sanford's up in the loft too. The cabin has a shake roof. He easily pushes the shakes aside climbs out on the roof, jumps down on the ground. If you ever seen Lively running, that's what I was doing. I lost the slave catchers in the cornfield, and I made my way to Stephen Bogue's home. Mr. Bogue, the slave catchers broke into the cabin and they took Joe and his family. Mr. Bogue gets on his horse and he rides into Cassopolis. Hannah Bogue secrets me upstairs, and I can look out the window and I can see what's going on. Ruth Stephen made it to William Jones's home. William Jones told the women, go hide in the cellar. Told the men go hide in the woods. He mounts his horse and he rides over to Stephen Bogue's home. The slave catchers are there. They have pistols and Bowie knives. William Jones, the Quaker, he doesn't have any guns, but he tells them that he can shoot as fast as they can. He stays there and he talks to them until Stephen Bogue and 30 others come from Cassopolis. And they go from Stephen Bogue's home to the old down mill in Vandalia, where it's estimated between 100 and 300 people had gathered. The slave catchers had guns. Some of the crowd had guns. There was a fear that violence would soon erupt. Josiah Osborne and other lead Quakers spoke to the crowd, kept the situation calm. Josiah Osborne spoke to the slave catchers, and they agreed to go to Cassopolis to have their case settled in court. The Cass County Commissioner's out of town. The Berrien County Commissioner's in town. Ebenezer McIlvaine. He's an abolitionist and a conductor on the Underground Railroad. He adjourned the case for 3 days. Then on the third day, he allowed blacks to testify against their slave owners, and he asked the Kentuckians to prove their case. We have the 1793 Fugitive Slave Act law that says we have the right to come into free states and take back our property. We have ownership papers that says these are our slaves. We have a copy of our state constitution that says Kentucky's a slave state. Overruled. McIlvaine overrules. He says your copy of your state constitution isn't certified. He dismisses the case. The 9 freedom seekers are rushed over to Ishmael Lee's home in Cassopolis, where there are other freedom seekers waiting. Zachariah Sugar, our conductor, has a big white hat and was proud of his team of horses. He took those 40 freedom seekers from Cassopolis to Schoolcraft to Dr. Nathan and Pamela Thomas's home. From there, they would go to Battle Creek to Erastus and Sarah Hussey's home. From there, they would travel on to Detroit, across the Detroit River, and into Canada. The Kentuckians would try to sue later on in Detroit in civil court. They were turned away again empty-handed. But for some Quakers, the court cost was high, and they had to sell their farms and leave the area. Our saying around here, sometimes it costs a lot to do the right thing, but it's always right to do the right thing. Perry Sanford, who lived in Battle Creek, he told his story to the Sunday Morning Call. And that's the story of the Kentucky slave raid of 1847.